I am a healed people pleaser. This doesn't mean that um, I'm the perfect communicator. It doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes. What it means is I am no longer triggerable. For so long, before I delve deep into my conscious healing process to heal from being a people pleaser, that was my life. I just walked around. I felt like I was in one big trigger. My nervous system was hyper vigilant. My nervous system was on hyper alert 24/7. I feel like I lived in high anxiety, but I would be so easy to jump scare. My everyday life was one big trigger. I still have some residual old emotions that are ready to come up and be released. As my higher self drops those into my lap, I take every opportunity. And that's why I can say that I am a healed people pleaser, because I'm able to catch it. I'm healed because I know that all of it is happening for me. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a mistake. Everything is in divine timing. I'm saying something a people pleaser would say, but I catch it now. And I do still slip up, and I'll go, oh, but it's like, and I don't get upset about it because I accept myself. I give myself tender, loving compassion. I don't beat myself up about it. I accept myself unconditionally. That's part of being healed. A healed people pleaser. I have learned to love myself, fully accept myself, and respect myself unconditionally. As a healed people pleaser, I no longer need the triggers. They're coping mechanisms. I can honestly say I feel like I'm living in bliss. And I'll put that qualifier there. I'm living in bliss, even in the emotional releases. Yeah, even while I'm going through it, it hurts. It's like it's at the same time, I still know. It's very, the emotional pain is there and it's true and it's coming up, but I know it's old. In that moment, I know it's an old emotion that I push down. I mean, I push down emotions 24/7 for decades, at least 5 solid decades, if not longer. So I've got a lot that has needed to come up, and there's probably still some there. As soon as I say there's not, here it comes. So, and I'm okay with that. In the moment, it can be not so fun, but in the moment now, because I am a healed people pleaser, I recognize it. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it did hurt. And I don't remember ever really processing that. So thank you. At the same time that I've got the cry face going on, the tears are flowing, the waterfalls are turned on, I can say that I am a healed people pleaser because I no longer stay silent to keep the peace. And I choose kindness. without abandoning myself. My most important relationship is me. I keep my attention on the light that I am. I say no without guilt. And I believe, I can honestly say that I am guilt free. Now, like I say, as soon as I say that, then something will come up, but I feel that I am guilt free. As a healed people pleaser, I no longer overextend my time. I used to overcommit because I would offer help in any situation, every situation, and I would volunteer help before people even asked for help. I don't jump into volunteering anymore before people ask for help. And I even went through a phase when I was at the right phase in my healing or at the right stage. I went through a phase where I was practicing. I wouldn't volunteer, and if someone asked for my help, a lot of times they wouldn't come right out and ask for it. They would be dropping a hint, sort of. I would not take the bait. But I would still be sincere and show kindness. Yeah, that sounds really hard. Good luck with that. And I wouldn't offer to do anything. I just went through that phase where I had to have the practice. And it was nervous. I was still nervous at that time. But the more I did it, the less nervous I got. And I saw that it was okay. I can say that I am a healed people pleaser because if I do choose to help someone, it's not because I need anyone's approval. I don't do it because I'm seeking approval. And that's so liberating. And I really don't give a flip if someone rejects me because of it. Someone doesn't approve of me or they're upset with me in any given moment. It's okay. Because of something I say, it really doesn't bother me anymore. I value my authenticity over needing to belong. I belong to myself. I love and accept myself. As a healed people pleaser, I am okay with and I am not scared. And I don't feel rejected if someone disagrees with me. It doesn't bother me anymore. I was in a workshop a couple years ago, and things like I would say something like I would say, well, I know that a certain crystal would help with that, to the person leading the workshop. And she wouldn't even, you know, say anything to me like, oh, okay, I'll look into that or anything. She wouldn't say anything else to me. She would just turn and look at someone that she currently knew and say, is that right? And get their justification on it. And it didn't bother me. It really did not bother me. And I got confirmation at the end of that workshop. It was a weekend workshop, 3-day workshop. One of the people in the workshop just came up to me and was saying, it was a pleasure. You just come across like such a confident, comfortable in yourself kind of person. And that's what I got. And I really felt confident and that happened a few times in that class, in that workshop. But I was really okay with it. And I noticed it before the person commented on it at the end of the workshop. I said, wow, it feels good. It was like a little bit of a rejection, And I would tell myself, I would just notice, and I would say, it feels great to be able to experience that and just be completely neutral. I am a healed people pleaser. I can tolerate if someone is disappointed in a choice that I have made. I no longer feel the need to fix other people's problems or to soothe people if they make a mistake. I let them own their own mistake. Those mistakes are there to help us. And I no longer over explain. Oh, that was a big one. I can now assert my boundaries without being defensive. I used to take everything personally, everything. And that took so much for me to, get away from that. And I was so grateful for it when I finally did. I rarely say, I'm sorry anymore. It used to be every other line. Exaggeration probably, but I said it. I was one of the people that said it way too much before I healed. And so at some point in the right stage of my healing, I decided I'm just going to start practicing not saying I'm sorry. I mean, you can still have an energy about you that's empathetic, but I would apologize, or I would say I was sorry for things that didn't matter, things that I didn't need to say I'm sorry about. So I started practicing in those situations, not saying I'm sorry. And after a while, I would go very, very, very long periods of time, days, weeks, without saying I'm sorry. And it felt good. And then I got to a point where I decided that I'm not going to say the words I'm sorry. If there comes up a time when I feel it's appropriate for me to apologize, that's what I'm going to say. Will you accept my apology? I didn't mean to say it that way. And it still happens. Just because I'm claiming to be a healed people pleaser doesn't mean that I don't, the wrong words might slip out of my mouth or they just come out in the wrong order. I still make mistakes. But I no longer say, I'm sorry about that. No, I don't do that anymore, and it feels good. I no longer manage other people's emotions. I still call myself a peacekeeper. I don't do things to keep peace. I don't make choices based on that, on keeping the peace. But I am a peacekeeper because I am a truth keeper. That's what I want to exude, my authenticity, my truth. My empathy is not self-sacrificing anymore. My choices do not self-sabotage anymore. I no longer wear a mask of over-accommodating. I would always, before I started to heal, I would always over-accommodate for everyone else. I would never over-accommodate for myself. And I have a little story. I'm going to tell it here. I think it's pretty hilarious. It shows how spirit does have a sense of humor. And this situation happened after I was healed. And it was actually last October, which was 4 or 5 months ago at the time of this video. And it was right after I had gone to my big Avalon trip in Glastonbury, England, last September 2025. And that trip was actually a ceremonial alchemization for me. It was like the big final part of the transformation. I had alchemized my mother womb, and I had also alchemized that generational line, my ancestral line of childhood trauma, mother-daughter. Yeah, that was pretty big. So that was in September of 2025. And the story that I want to share about over accommodating um, came in October, just a few weeks, actually less than 2 weeks after I got back from that trip to Avalon. And what happened is um, I was practicing, right? I was still practicing choosing myself. And I had retired a few months earlier in July of 2025. My first day of retirement, and it happened by chance, was July 4th, 2025, Freedom Day. That was the first day of my retirement. That literally happened. And it was very spontaneous. My retirement was very spontaneous. It wasn't planned. I was guided by spirit because I no longer needed to be in that work dynamic. That in itself was an initiation, but I get off track. Anyway, so in July, I had semi retired. I still worked at the same firm, but I went from full time, one location, one branch, to part time, working as needed at different branches. So after I got back from Avalon in September, um, less than 2 weeks after that, I had to go into. I had a part time gig where I was going into a branch. I'd never been to that branch before. I didn't even know the people, the financial advisor that worked there. I did not know that person. I had never talked to him. But what happened was my dog had been sick. She had had some kind of digestive issues, if you know what I mean. She had had diarrhea for over a week. And I had just been trying to take care of her myself, changed her food. I made rice and chicken, bland, flavored food for her, and it seemed to be getting better. So the night before I was supposed to go into this work assignment, everything seemed fine. Like, okay, she's getting better. I don't have to worry. 2 o'clock a.m., she wakes me up and she needs to desperately go out. And so the diarrhea had restarted all over again, full blown. I believe it was not a coincidence. Spirit was putting that in my path because here's what happened. Here's the choices that I had to make. It was like every 30 minutes at least that my poor little sweet Blaze, my pug, was having diarrhea. So she had severe diarrhea. And the old me would have bent over backwards. I would have pulled every string, gone through every route to try and find a way to still get to work, right? Because I always put my needs last. And anybody who was associated with me, their needs came last, and it was the other group or situation or person that I would be over accommodating for. And this time I knew I had to call that FA and say, I can't come in today. Not only because there's diarrhea involved, but because my dog has diarrhea. And it just felt so hilarious that I was having to say this to somebody I had never met before, etc. Right? But somebody who was dependent on me. I mean, yes, of course, I did wish that I could have fulfilled that and shown up when I had said I was going to. But I just said, Tina, I was able to look at it with mental clarity. My dog needs me right now. I can't leave my dog outside, tie her up outside. She's an inside dog and leave her all day so that she doesn't go in the house. She needs me. I need to do this. So I did. I chose me. I called and said, my dog has diarrhea, blah, 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 and I need to take her to the vet. So I took her to the vet that day. I called in sick the first day, and then she got some severe digestive problems from the place where she had stayed boarding for 8 days. but the vet gave her some antibiotics and gave her some bland canned dog food, and she said it will be at least 24 hours before she's you see any reduction in the diarrhea. So long story short, I had to call the second day and call in sick because she was still going strong with that diarrhea. So I called in 2 days in a row, and I said, okay, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me. I know this is the right thing to do, but it felt scratchy and crunchy on the inside a little bit because I was still, doing that. But what ended up happening was the third day I went into work. My dog finally became fine and I could leave her. And I went into work the third day. I could feel there was no resentment. The FA even talked about stories about his dog being severely sick, and he spent thousands on, making the dog better and doing surgery, and it was just okay. And this was the perfect example of how people pleasers, we can make such a big scary deal out of things, and it's okay. Now, there might have been situations where another FA would have been more resentful and whatnot, and more verbally abusive about it. And that was my old employer, actually, who would have done something like that. But thanks to him, I had grown out of worrying about stuff like that and knew that I didn't deserve the verbal abuse if that person had done that, had turned that route, taken that route. But I was much better with that. So there's that little story. I thought it was cute, and yeah, spirit does have a sense of. As a healed people pleaser, I've learned that to make a connection, you don't need to have constant harmony in your interactions. For example, me and another person, to get to know each other better, you have to be authentic. You have to upset the apple cart every now and then. And if that person is meant to be your friend, then they'll be okay with your authenticity. So we don't need constant harmony in our conscious connections. We don't have to have an urgency to smooth things over. Let things sit. You play it by ear and see if there's something you need to say in the moment, or if it's okay to wait, or if it's okay that, you don't have to say anything else. Follow up with anything else. I have learned that if someone is upset because of something I did or said, they can exist that way, and I can exist knowing that they're upset. And it's okay. I don't need anyone to validate me, give me permission, or justify. I don't need anyone standing nearby to, jump in and justify anything that I've said. I stand alone. I am sovereign. I am confident in my words. Yep, and I know I already belong to myself. I have my own inner authority. I govern myself. I don't have to earn love. I already love myself. I already have love. I know the universe loves me. And that's all I need. I'm very lovable. Rejection doesn't break me anymore because I already accept myself. My kindness is genuine now. Before it was, came from fear. But I have unconditional respect for myself. That way I can have unconditional respect for others and offer appropriate kindness, an appropriate level of kindness. I am a healed people pleaser. So get into your comfortable position, and I will begin the energy healing transmission now. Take a few rounds of deep breathing. The energies have already started coming through strongly. And in addition to the usual team that is here for the energy transmission, we have Archangel Gabriel stepping forward, offering his loving touch on this energy transmission today. Our high frequency friends are channeling through the energies that are needed by you to continue on in your healing journey with confidence, with the knowing that you are healing. You are choosing you. You're choosing to show up for you. When you heal, the whole world is touched by that healing. Only love is real. Every situation, every emotion, every experience is love. Love is all there is. Carry that with you, knowing in every given moment that everything is happening for you to choose your healing. And that includes rest and rejuvenation. I just had a sensation of feeling like fairy dust sparkles, like the stardust of our own Holy Spirit washing over us. We love you. We see you and we honor you. Our dear heart-centered friends. Blessed be.